Hello, welcome to the channel. This is Lady&SaoRS. I'm Lady.
And I'm Sao.
We're coming to you today to talk about Runefest.
The first ever Runefest we've ever been to before, actually.
Yes, this is the 2025 Runefest, the first one after the hiatus of COVID. It's been a while.
And the hiatus of them having their previous sponsor go bankrupt a few months ago. But, we still got to go, so I'm not complaining too much.
So this is our first YouTube video, so quick intro to us. I'm Lady. I've been playing RuneScape since COVID, so not very long in the grand scheme of RuneScape.
And I have been playing for about 16 years, which is incredibly also not super long compared to some other people out there.
Well, it's been a big bonding experience for both of us. We are a married couple.
Yeah, so we talk pretty often about what would our relationship be like if I did not introduce her to RuneScape? And you know what? It was still very good beforehand, but it's really drastically improved be able to talk about lore at 2 a.m.
Fair. And as you said, lore, that is going to be the main focus of our YouTube channel. We have discovered there is kind of a lack of RuneScape 3 content within the community. And I am completely a RuneScape 3 player, and you are a primarily RuneScape 3 player.
Yes, I do play both, but RuneScape 3 is my main game, and the reason for that is the lore is really, really good.
Yes, so we hope to come to you in the future with videos focusing on lore and just some fun things for you guys. So welcome to the channel. So our first video ever is going to be just a discussion and retrospect on Runefest.
I'll start with up front, it was really good.
Very true. For those of you who are somehow clicking this video and RuneScape fans enough to know what RuneScape are, but maybe don't know what Runefest is the celebration of RuneScape Old School and RuneScape 3. It has been on hiatus for a few years, and it is normally where we get all our big roadmap details.
And also, probably important to say, it's all in person. It's not just something on RuneScape. They've talked about that on and off for a couple of years, but no, it's one big celebration of RuneScape where you get to meet other fans of the one place in your life you don't feel guilty for being a RuneScape player. And especially not for being a RuneScape 3 player.
And it is also a huge opportunity for the fans to interact with the JMods. That was probably the biggest appeal for going for us. So we're going to talk about whether or not it was worth going. Spoiler, we loved it. It was for us, even though that did involve, as you can tell by our accents, probably flying across an ocean. So let's start with ticket prices. Ticket prices for Runefest are not cheap.
£175 per person this year. And I do believe that was more expensive than previous years because this time it was a 2-day event. And frankly, I cannot imagine this as a 1-day event. I mean, first Runefest, so I don't have much to compare it to, but this felt like it needed to be a 3-day event. But so the price, yeah, £175, so roughly $200 per person if you're also in the US. So that was pretty expensive, but it did feel like you got a lot to do there.
Yes, I think, however, once you factor in at least one ticket, maybe two, depending on who you're going with, plus most likely a hotel or travel, it does add up really quickly. I don't think $175 was a bad price for what you got, which we will go into more detail further in, but it's definitely steep. And these things are expensive to throw. I did feel that they obviously put a lot of money into it. It was really well decorated. It was really engaging. You know, they didn't just throw us in a warehouse with some tables and say, here's your Runefest. It was definitely a lot of work went into planning, a lot of work went into decorating, and the amount of people they had there that was staff for Jagex was astronomical. Like, this was not a cheap event.
200 employees at Jagex? I think about 100 of them were there. This is weekend pay. So yeah, I was pretty impressed. And I kind of did expect a warehouse full of tables and sit down with the JMods and talk RuneScape, which would have been cool, but this felt almost like more than a Comic-Con, more like almost an arcade with the amount of kind of fun stuff they had going on. But anyway, we're talking about tickets right now. Probably the biggest, most frustrating expense about it wasn't actually the price of tickets, it was the location. Birmingham, UK, a big convention center city in the UK, but not the cheapest to get to because they don't do international flights. It's mostly regional. So we had to get a layover in Ireland.
Yes, for those of us coming from outside the UK, Birmingham is not the best location. However, within Birmingham, I thought it was a good location. For those who don't know, it was at the convention center.
NEC.
NEC, yes. Which is pretty much at the airport. It's technically, I guess, in the airport complex. If it's not considered in the airport, it's right next to it. Definitely walkable. It is right by the train station. And there are hotels at the airport that are walkable to this convention center.
Yeah, cheap hotels too. So yeah, I mean, like, everything about where they picked in Birmingham was good. It was Birmingham itself that made it expensive to get to. Also, to my viewers out there, if you hear me get angry all of a sudden, I'm currently trying to learn the Sanctum of Rebirth hard mode on RuneScape 3, so that is just me dying to Nakatra over and over and over again.
Yes, I apologize if the clicking is in audio. Hopefully that will not be too annoying to you.
That or we can just edit it out.
So, yes, forgive any sound quality issues. We are not professional YouTubers, certainly not. We are not professionals with sound quality, sound design. We will be figuring this out as we go. Hopefully we will see continuous improvements in the quality of our videos and sound production. Now, back to that $175 ticket price. I want to talk about what that got you. It obviously gets you access to the event for 2 days. Then we got an entire book bag.
Yeah, they said there'd be real-life merch bags. You know, if anyone's ever been to a Comic-Con, at least here stateside, you kind of just get a cool plastic bag that has the logo for Comic-Con on it, and maybe some sponsors. But this time it was an actual backpack, a rucksack. I was pretty impressed with the quality of it. It has not fallen apart on us yet. Not that I've used it too much. But like that there, I would say probably would be about 50 pounds, depending on where you go.
I was going to put it at maybe a $30 backpack, but it did have monograms. I'll insert photos. It was embroidered with a dragon, and honestly, it was a really cool piece of merch to see because when you go to a convention, you need a bag of some type.
We brought a backpack and we didn't need it, which is, but that's praiseworthy all on its own that they provided one for us.
And a lot of people did not bring book bags of any type, and I'm sure a lot of people were really happy to have something. Yeah, I thought the book bag was a really cool souvenir. So the first piece of merch we got in there was a notebook, a leather-bound notebook that was also had the dragon imprinted onto it. I thought it was a really nice notebook, really good usable piece of merch. Everyone can use it. It also came with a Sharpie. Our bags contained the first couple activities that they were giving us to gather skill chips. So this was the activities that you could do during the convention. The first of which was being the item trading.
Yeah, that was an interesting icebreaker that we started dabbling in as soon as we walked in, really, before they even had their official Welcome to Runefest concert. This is how it worked, basically. They gave you 4 cards, pretty high-quality cards. If you played the RuneScape Kingdoms board game, think similar to the cards they give you for that. And these cards are of 4 different categories. There's fish, wood, ore, and runes.
And gems.
The game was you had to trade with other Runefest participants and JMods in order to get one set of 4 different cards. So you need a bronze bar, an iron bar, an adamantite bar, and a runite bar. And then or 4 different runes. And you get all of them, and then you get to turn it in for a skill chip.
Yes, so I did fish.
And I did runes.
It was honestly one of the best icebreakers or just way to get people talking that I have ever seen. It was immediate. When we sat down, we found seats waiting for the welcome announcements, and immediately going through your bags, everyone was trading cards. I think a ton of people even finished before the concert even started. I mean, okay, I shouldn't say a ton, a couple people, but it was definitely something people found in their bags, latched onto, loved.
Yeah, it's the way how I looked at it was that Jagex must have been real bold if they're trying to get RuneScape 3 players, okay, let's be fair, all RuneScape players, to actually socialize and interact with people in real life. But you know what? We were all interested in trading and occasionally scamming one another. So yeah, it's RuneScape in a nutshell, just IRL.
We did most of our trading in the merch line, and that was a really good spot for it because you're all really crowded together. And little shifts allowed you to trade with different people. But the next item in our backpack that was included in the skill chips was the penguin hunt, which was not the most fun activity they had, but might have been my favorite just because it was so on point.
I have to feel a little bad for the old school players who didn't get to understand the reference to penguin hide and seek, the excellent 16-year-old distraction diversion RuneScape 3. But yeah, the basics of it is...
Yes, penguin hide and seek is probably my favorite distraction diversion in the entire game, so this was amazing.
They hid 8 penguins around the Runefest Convention Center. each one with a little placard around their neck with a letter on it, and then you get 8 letters and you have to spell out a word.
And the penguins were of varying sizes. There were a couple like small ones hidden in the decor that you actually really did have to look to find. It took us a while. We did a couple laps walking through and found the big like emperor penguin sized one immediately. And we didn't find all 8 until maybe halfway through the first day?
Yeah.
Maybe more?
Yeah, I remember it was in the afternoon. We were talking with Mod Alex at an art table. And I was having such a great conversation with him, and then I just yelled in his face, "Penguin!" Because I noticed there was a penguin behind him.
That wasn't even the last one we found.
No, but it's just that they were well hidden, and they got us to look around and meet people.
They did. So, penguin hunt was fun. It spelled Godsword, by the way.
Yeah, that was bogus. I was certain it would spell Acheron, the frozen continent that the penguins are supposed to reside on.
Or perhaps it could have spelled the new continent. But Godsword was a good RuneScape word. Not the one I'd pick.
Obviously, it should have been Dog Sword.
But it did have to... it should have been... Sorry, I just got your joke. It should have been something applicable to RuneScape 3 and Old School. So... Godsword does work. The other one, the last one that was in our book bag to start with, was the Wise Old Crafting. It was a wise old man, I guess you could call it a paper doll.
Yeah.
It was built up through layers of cardboard that you had to punch out that were adhesive. So it was like 3D stickers, I guess?
Yeah, that's one way of putting it.
This was a really cool idea, but whoever quality tested these was not thorough enough.
Yeah, my wise old man, a part of his staff fell off, and now his full staff doesn't even stay in his hand. And I know they weren't that popular, because as we were walking out of the crafting area, we looked at the table we were supposed to get our crafting skill chip, which is just a little souvenir token. There were, 2-3 dozen discarded wise old men.
Easily more.
Yeah, so we walked up to the JMod in charge of it, and we said, we have to turn it in? I thought we get a chance to keep it. And she said, no, you get to keep it. These people just didn't want to.
Right. And throwing them in the bag, in like the small side pocket of our bag even, they broke into a dozen pieces. By the time we got home to the US, my reassembling took a good 10 minutes probably for both of them. I will probably hot glue them together to last longer throughout our lives, but they're kind of cute, just not quality in the slightest. It was a fun activity. Yeah, Actually, it was kind of an infuriating activity.
It can be a little bit of both. We are RuneScape prep players. We have to accept the fun and the infuriation in equal measures.
Yes, I do think, though, maybe the Wise Old Crafting was my least favorite of the skill chip activities.
Thankfully there's still no super long line for it, though.
That's true. That was probably the fastest activity as far as the ones with lines. I never saw a line, at least not except for maybe when they were first setting up and getting people into seats. Most of the time it was pretty empty. However, we've talked about 3 of the skill chip events. The other 5 definitely had lines, and we are out of the skill chip activities that were in our bag to start with. So these were other activities you had to do throughout the day that were in line and then done in that little localized area. The first of which was called Goblin Diplomacy.
Yeah, basically they took the very, very general concept of the Goblin Diplomacy quest of dressing up Grubfoot the Goblin, and basically this whole activity was dress up with some RuneScape props, get a picture taken on a green screen with a RuneScape background.
Get it? It's green. I mean, I think this is the one.
I think it should be red.
I think this is the one whose blurb, when we read the blurb, we were like, we're not really sure what's happening. Then when we walked over there and looked at it, we were like, oh, it's just a photo booth.
We got a great picture, though. And I actually liked it for that reason, that it was relatively simple, relatively fast line.
Yes.
It wasn't a skill activity. I mean, this was just the convention photo booth. We would have got a photo anyway.
But I will say, the armor piece, I guess they didn't really have armor. They had party hats, they had swords, they had staves. I don't think did they had some crossbows at least.
I don't remember that, actually.
I think so. Shields.
God swords.
And then you got to pick your background. There was was there a Falador, City of
We chose City of but there were several old school locations of, the go-to places around Mistel and Asgardia.
Yeah, and you got a cute photo, and also they had a QR code you scanned to take it, which is way better than typing in an email and sped things up, so that was great. The next skill chip activity we want to talk about was the catapult training.
Oh, yes. Okay, this was great because for whatever reason the line was not very long there either. Do you want to explain or should I?
I'll go for it.
They give you a foam cabbage They set up a catapult. There are buckets in the wall. You get 3 cabbages. Launch the cabbage into the bucket, and my gosh, it was so difficult.
Okay, we should clarify. The little tiny foam cabbage was probably what? The size of both your fists if you put them together, your hands?
I think it's about the foam cabbage, but the size of a small cabbage.
No, it's smaller than a real cabbage, but you were shooting them into crates, and it was not with an actual catapult. It was with a large slingshot, I guess is what you could call it.
Yeah, I guess so.
A mounted slingshot on the ground that was a challenge to pull back and aim.
We had to do this twice. It is in 3 cabbages twice, and between those 6 launches each, we only got 1 cabbage in the bucket. But we did
Each of us, we each got one.
That's true. We did meet an NFL player though in line. That was interesting. Apparently, there is an NFL player who has a maxed old school Iron Man. I'm
sure he streams. I'm sure people in the community already know him. But
yeah, well, I just want to say I find being an NFL player and having a maxed Iron Man old school to be equally impressive achievements.
So yes, the catapult cabbage train was super fun. It was over super fast, but I mean, I'm glad because then the line moves faster.
Well said.
The next one was the Colromancer. I can't say that word.
Colromancer.
That was the kitchen. No, that was Cook's assistant. Was that the bad? No. What's the Colromancer?
Where you have to smell the runes.
Oh gosh, no wonder I couldn't tell what it was based off the little blurb we have. Match the flavors to the runes. Yes. Sao, you can't smell well.
No, I cannot.
I can. I'm very smell sensitive, but this activity, I don't know. I said Wise Old Crafting was the worst. This one was the worst.
So the gist of it is there were these 3 urns, I'm going to call them, with scented vapor coming out of them, and they give you a straw, and you were supposed to suck up your little gas and say, what flavor is this magical flavor?
Yes, it didn't actually match runes. There was no, like, fire flavor or water flavor. I think they were all water flavor. We were pretty much just sampling water vapor and trying to tell you what it tasted like.
We were also in a group of about 8 different scapers, and, there's only so much vapor coming out of these urns at a time, so sucking at them, we kind of took away each other's vapor.
And I also think... Okay, so I've been around people smoking... What are those called? Juuls? And they smell amazing. Like, I smell that, I know that's Skittles. I smell that, I know that's cotton candy. This had nothing on those. Like, well, do you remember the 3 flavors? One was apple, one was cucumber?
It was cucumber, and there was a green apple pie, I think it was. Third one, I just don't remember. Although
It was raspberry, wasn't it?
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. I tasted one of them. I could vaguely maybe taste cucumber. You could... Did you only get...
Oh, I got apple.
You could taste apple. Could you taste the raspberry at all?
I don't remember tasting much of it. Maybe I do. But I figured out apple on behalf of the group.
Yeah, I really just tasted straw.
Yeah.
Straw and air. I don't know if this maybe worked better when they were testing it in the small group and 1 or 2 people were doing it at a time and they were like, yeah, this is easy, this makes sense, this is good. But in the group of 8, we all tasted, sucked through the air, and the first one took us, a good maybe 30 seconds. I'd say they each took us about 30 seconds.
At least it was an original idea. I would never have thought I'm going to Runefest to go suck some vapor with some strangers.
It was creative, but it did not work for me. Yeah, this one was a flop for me.
On to the next one.
Cook's Assistant Part 2. There's no Part 1, don't be confused.
Well, the idea is the Part 1's the quest in the game.
I know. Okay. I think this was maybe our second longest wait, and it was probably the second longest activity, maybe the longest activity, which was very silly. They had vats of straw and a bunch of wooden eggs. And we got to watch all the JMods repeatedly mix the wooden eggs into the vats of straw. And then you went in with a group of 6. I think it was 6. And you got a timer and you got to dig through and find the wooden eggs.
Yep, and that's it. You grab all the eggs, or as many as you can, and then you get your cooking skill chip.
It was a little odd, but
yes,
it was fun. You were a big group. It actually worked as a group. Unlike some of the other skills where I feel like when you were stuck with a group, it didn't work as well.
There's a long-standing question I'm familiar with. Why is it in Cook's Assistant 1 in-game, you were supposed to bring to the chef for the Duke of Lumbridge an egg, some flour, and some milk for a cake, but no sweetener or anything that adds any other flavor.
No sugar.
Yeah, no sugar, right. Anything like no sugar, no fruit, no honey, no anything like that. So apparently in Cook's Assistant 2, we've just gone absolute bare bones definition.
We're making quiche.
No, we're just making scrambled eggs, apparently, and that's Gonna make for the worst birthday cake ever. Maybe it's like birthday brunch. I'm gonna go with that.
I would say Cook's Assistant Part 2 was like the middle of the road one.
Yeah, it was fine. When we summarize it pretty quickly.
I wasn't mad I waited in line for it, but I'm not like jumping up and down in line waiting for it. So that brings us to the last one, which is the Verox Bank Heist.
Yeah, this one was the longest line. And
Such a long wait for this one. I really do feel like this one was the least well organized. It was a little unclear how long that some people were doing the timer for. I noticed different mods let people go for different amounts of time. So the concept of this one was you were supposed to be bank robbers, and we were supposed to steal jewelry, a gold bar, and
a sack of gold
from the bank. And they gave you a fishing pole with a string and a hook on the end, and everything had a little loop on the end, and you could pull it out between the bars.
It's supposed to be telekinetic grab, if you're curious.
Yes, they did a really cute little skit about, look, here's your wizard staff, and use your imagination, and look, it's like there's a hook on the end. Like, it was really cute. It was a good idea. The JMods who were doing this one, I thought really had fun with it and were in character, and like, it's, we all know how boring it is to do the same thing over and over again every like 2 minutes and try and interact with the public.
But the one thing I took away from this is, well, we were supposed to be stealing gold from a bank. The one thing that really got stolen is my heart by the lady here for coming to Runefest with me and waiting an hour and a half long line for a quick little telekinetic grab between some bars. It would have been a lot better if they just would have taken 2 groups at a time.
Yes, I think if they would have had 2 vaults or stopped people when they got all 3 items.
Or honestly, just one.
That's true.
You stole something. Good job. Get out of here.
Yes, like we did it like immediately. It was really easy. And like they were like, oh, keep going. And we were like, we're gonna go. Like, it was like maybe a 30-second activity. I felt bad for everyone waiting in line still because it was such a long line. I didn't want to keep going. I wasn't enthusiastic about it by the time I got up there.
If anyone is having trouble visualizing what these activities were, basically they're like carnival games. I was not expecting carnival games at Runefest, but that's kind of what it was. But despite our seemingly scathing criticism, we are RuneScape players at heart, and while we can be very critical of Jagex sometimes, this was really fun. I mean, everything here, if I was rating on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say probably the worst is like a 6, just because of the novelty of it. The fact we were there meeting JMods, meeting with interesting RuneScape players in line. We made some good friends there, actually.
We did.
And it was all cool.
Ending of the skill chip activities, you did 8 activities, and you brought your skill chips up to the Grand Exchange, and they gave you a 9th skill chip. This also leads us into the fact that you could then buy a display box for your skill chips. And this takes us into the merch conversation. I want to talk about the box with the skill chips. I don't know if I'm the only person who feels this way, but it was a plain black box, think like a really nice gift box, but smaller, that just the size of your 9 poker chips. And it then had a really cool embossed dragon on the top. But then, if you have to choose then, are you going to display the dragon on a bookshelf? Or display the open box? Or take up double the space to display them both next to each other and not really use it like a box? I think a much better piece would have been like the containers that you put state quarters in, where it like slots in, and then to have like a dragon above that. I just didn't think this was a very well thought out or cool piece of merch. Apparently this is something they've done for a long time.
Yeah.
But I thought they were kind of lame. They looked cool.
We also didn't get any because we turned in our skill chips later than others.
Yes, they also sold out, so maybe I am the only person who thinks this.
Fair enough.
The other types of merch they had available, they had the obvious things like t-shirts. There were a lot of different t-shirts designs.
Foam party hats.
Yes, they had felt
my bad.
Party hats that were adjustable Velcro, and they looked really good. I thought they seemed really high quality. There was a fun trend that started with the Jagex Sharpie they gave us to start having the mods sign the party hats. I thought that was really cool. Let's see. They also had socks.
Oh, yes. I love my combat triangle socks.
Yes, I think they had 9 different sock designs.
No, more.
More?
Yeah, they had 3 sets of 3, and then there were 3 more separate ones. So
those were different ones?
Yeah, so I count 12.
So there were at least 12.
Yeah.
And you've worn the socks. They seem fine. They seem like socks. Didn't immediately fall apart. They were all long socks.
10 out of 10. Would stick my foot in again.
They also had the other piece of merch we bought, which was the desk mats.
Yes. Basically big mouse pads. But, if there's one criticism I can have for this merch, Pretty sure just about all of it was already for sale on the RuneScape merch website.
That's true. The plushies were definitely there.
Yeah, but to be fair, they did run out of inventory on the plushies online.
They ran out of inventory on almost everything.
Well, I meant they ran out of plushies online, and then they had more at Runefest. The only other thing that comes to mind like that is they had little baseball caps with the god symbols on them. And to my knowledge, they've been sold out of those online for a while, and apparently they had them for sale at Runefest. Well, I didn't see anybody wear one.
No, they did not seem like a popular piece. They also had some display pieces, little like statuette type things, right?
I don't remember them, honestly.
I don't either. I know there was a lot more, though. They had the board game. I think you could at least order it.
The cookbook, the
Yes.
graphic novel, and the new novels. Yeah, so again, stuff they sell online, but you get...
The handbook.
Yes, the tabletop gaming handbook. We should use that at some point.
They also had a display case with all the merch in it, which I thought was a really nice touch because they had QR codes for everything, so you could fill out your order form before you got to the front of the line.
Yeah, if anyone wants my advice, if you're going to Runefest in the future, use the pre-order link they have on the website, because we waited in line for over an hour, and then we jumped out of it and had someone pick up stuff for us, and I got it an hour later.
Yes, we practically ran to the merch line as soon as the intro ended. Still ended up super far back. They had the zigzagging queues, and we were outside of the barriers by many feet. And by the time we got to the front, my t-shirt that I wanted was sold out.
That's right.
I wanted a medium. The larges were sold out too. I ended up with an extra large. I'm not mad, but it's just like, really?
We'll pre-order next year.
Yes, the pre-order link I don't feel like was very well publicized.
I guess. I didn't remember it existed.
Yes, so if you end up going to Runefest, pre-order your merch.
No. Go to Runefest. It was awesome. Don't just if you're going. Definitely go.
Let's see, was there any other merch pieces you can think of?
No. I love my socks. That's all that really matters to me.
Just there were cases and cases. I feel like there was so much.
Well, they also had the stuff from the board games in there, and that took up a lot of
maybe that's what I'm thinking
real
of.
estate in there.
I think this brings us to the main event of RuneScape, the panels. So most of the panels, they were, it's kind of complicated to explain how the panels worked. In the most basic sense, they were split up by Old School versus RuneScape 3.
There were about 6 panels per game. All the panels were on Sunday. So this is actually my biggest complaint, because I'm both a RuneScape 3 and Old School player. They were simultaneous and at different parts of the venue. I mean, I had to go to the RuneScape 3 ones, which were great. That's my main game. But I couldn't go to the Old School panels because I'd love to talk to the JMods there. And unfortunately, they even had overlap in the themes of the panels, where we had the narrative direction panel for Old School at the same time as the lore RuneScape 3 panel. If you're a big quester like I am, got a quest cape in both games and a master quest cape in RuneScape 3, you probably want to go to both of those, and I couldn't. But I mean, we went to RuneScape 3s together, and it was excellent. But again, if I had to complain about one thing, is I wanted to do more. Kind of going into why I said earlier, I kind of wish this was a 3-day event.
So just to give you guys a little bit of an overview, the Old School panels included the narrative direction of Old School, the boss design, creator panel, Runefest Summit Q&A, the Project JMods live demo and Q&A, and then Old School art style chat and Q&A. And these were all different panels with different sets of mods depending on how they were relevant to the topic being discussed. And we stayed for most of the RuneScape 3 panels that were going on at the same time, which were the Lorehounds Assemble, RuneScape Ahead Expanded, Let's Chat Combat, Adventuring to New Lands, and Glowing Up Galenor.
The only one we didn't go to was Combat because, well, we had stuff we wanted to do elsewhere in the venue, so we had to drop something.
Yes, and this is all in addition to the art area and the fireside chats areas and the meet and greets that were happening at the same time.
With JMods and content creators. So to be clear, everything we just mentioned was on Sunday. It was a 2-day event of Saturday and Sunday. Saturday was pretty packed with shows and the roadmaps, but Sunday was kind of the more free roam day, but there was just too much to roam to.
Yes, Saturday we had like the cosplay parade, the big RuneScape quiz.
I did terrible, shockingly.
I did great. They had like the creator battle for content creators, and then the big announcements for RuneScape Ahead, and then the Old School RuneScape Ahead, the Golden Gnomes, which is their award show, and then they had the party.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I was wondering when we get to the party. So
I actually forgot about it.
Let's start the good stuff. The RuneScape Ahead for RuneScape 3 and the Old School Summit for Old School. Oh, I'm so excited.
They were fantastic. I mean, those are probably going to be the most televised part. If you're watching this video, that's probably what you looked up immediately when you were looking for news on Runefest. So I don't want to get too deep into Haven Height or what's the old vampires from the old school too. But
I will point out that I actually spoke with Mod Shrek about this. I want to know why both RuneScape 3 and Old School around the same time were having stories where we go from Galanor to Vampirium. Hilariously, it was a total coincidence. Mod Shrek said they communicated about it between the two teams the day before RuneFest Saturday. And I think it's cool, because I like the vampire story. I look forward to going there twice.
Yeah, so let's talk Saturday's big events. Was Cosplay Parade.
That was fun.
It was really fun. We took part. I will not tell you who we dressed as, but we killed it. We did not win. We did not make top 5. They had a pretty good top 5. There were a couple people I'd switch out, but I'm not going to complain about it. The winner was your choice of winner, right?
Yeah, he had full second age armor. I'm surprised there's no players even know what second age is.
And did I like the guy in full dragon? Is that what I like?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was my favorite. And I'm going to call him second. He was top 3, but I think they did well.
I mean,
they also had the live RuneScape improv show.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that was surprisingly good. I won't lie, I was a little skeptical about an improv team coming up and trying to harness the RuneScape experience, and they did their own take on Dragon Slayer. And but apparently the guy who hosted the show was a RuneScape player himself, and you know that there were some bumpy spots, and but you know it all felt right when he asked for everyone in the audience to make some noise of their RuneScape 3 players, and after there was a slight crowd cheer, he says, "Oh yeah, this is the entire game population in the room right now." But yeah,
I thought Mod Mark made that joke. Did they both make that joke?
Mod Mark did not make that joke.
I thought they both did. Well, anyway, as someone who has done improv, I did improv in college. I loved it. I think that team was not a team so much as people who were put together, and that's a lot harder than doing it as a team. So, like, props to them. They did. I think they did fine. They had great costumes and they had a great spirit.
Yeah, you're right. Again, surprisingly good. I was skeptical, but I had some pretty hearty laughs.
Okay, that brings us to the quiz, the RuneScape trivia quiz. I just want to say thank you to the building for having internet, but could you have better internet?
Yeah.
It was a little unfair to the non-UK players who didn't have a phone data plan in the US. It was through our phones. It was one of those you log onto a website and register on your phone, and then they show the big questions on the projector, and they're on your phone too. Yeah, my first question didn't load.
I think my second question didn't load.
Yes, and that set us back significantly in the scoreboard already.
And also the serious amount of questions I got wrong sent me back. I was shocked. I thought I was going to kill it. The questions were written between JMods and the RuneScape Wiki editors, and I have some good friends in the RuneScape Wiki population. And wow, I'm not a big enough scaper, apparently, because I didn't recognize what a dark beast looked like in 2002.
Yes, it was very much not necessarily catered to those of us new players, which I can't expect it to be. There is a decade or a half of this game that I am unfamiliar with. I did not expect to place well. I think I took 18th. Do you remember?
No, I think you took 81st.
Oh, God.
No, just we did not.
I'll insert whatever number I took, but I was in the double digits out of... was there over 1,000?
Oh, there were over 1,000.
Yeah, there were over 1,000.
And
and I will say that double digit is including ties. So was I in the double digits? No, I was certainly in the triple digits if ties were not accounted for. But
the prize were King Black Dragon, not Lego sets that were super cool to see.
Yes, can we talk about how no one seemed enthusiastic about them?
There was one girl on stage who did. I could see she was smiling.
I could not believe that when they hinted that it was going to be King Black Dragon Lego sets, the crowd didn't react. This is probably the most coveted piece of RuneScape merch that was only available to JMods, right?
For the most part. They give out for contests every now and then.
Yeah, that's been really rare over the years, and they gave out 5?
That's right.
5 of them? And I felt like no one in the audience reacted. No one on stage reacted. And maybe we're biased because we spent a significant chunk of change to buy one ourselves recently, and then to watch them go up and no one seemed interested broke my heart a little.
But it is an awesome building set.
It's very cool.
But the one thing I thought was kind of cool about this quiz, that even though I'm bemoaning how I didn't do very well, I believe got maybe half the questions right. And what was really cool is that when they had the scoreboards on screen, of the over 1,000 players participating, usually there were about 1,000 players who got it right. And again, that is surprising because, you know, there were some obscure questions in there. And then some not so obscure questions like, what is this creature, a sheep or no? Yes, it's a sheep.
And there also were many questions that weren't multiple choice.
That's true.
Or there were some that obviously had to write the answer in, but there were also ones where you had to order things. You'd have like 5 items and you'd slide them around based on what order they released.
That was one of them.
Yeah, they also had matching of lines from quest dialogue.
That one I killed it on. I got every single question on that one right. But no, my point I'm trying to make is it was cool to see so many people, not only RuneScape players there, but like hardcore scapers there. People did well overall.
And I won't say there were many, if any, questions that like no one got.
Yeah, I think
but
you're
even
right.
the people who are at the top did not get every question right. There was no one who got every question right.
Good.
Yes, I thought it was a really well done quiz. Obviously, those giant quizzes like that can never be perfect. You know, there's misspellings. There's, you know, someone typed, one of the answers was like a level up sound, and some people typed
a strength level up sound, and that is different.
That wasn't what I was trying to say. Some people typed level complete sound, and maybe that didn't count. And went back and looked through things manually and tried to count as many of those as possible, but obviously it's not perfect. And like, people spelled sheep wrong.
Yeah, that I can't explain. Although, for just a sidebar, I believe Paul Gower himself was in the audience. I mean, I saw Mod Mark talk to someone named Paul who supposedly designed that sheep back in the day, and I believe that was Mr. Gower himself. I would have loved to meet him.
Yeah, that would have been really cool. That brings us to Saturday's event in the afternoon, the creator battle. I will be honest, we did not watch the creator battle. We were
doing the skill chip activities.
And eating food, probably. There is some downtime, minimal downtime between things, maybe 15 minutes, maybe half an hour for them to change sets and that type of thing. The food, they had 2 food trucks and like a restaurant and a bar, a couple bars. It was not enough time to get through those lines most of the days, so you did have to miss some things. I cannot comment on the creator battle. I watched a little bit of it. I wish I knew whose video I watched. I think it was whoever won the video category because it was phenomenal. They did a whole clue scroll video quest of finding a clue scroll and all the funny bits of lore and history and of RuneScape, and it was super cute, but super clever.
To address the white elephant issue, it went on too long. Scheduled for what, an hour?
45 minutes. Yeah, they went way long, I think.
I think they went an hour and a half. I got out of line for something to get ready for the roadmap announcement next, and look, I was not interested in watching Mod Mark try to identify each streamer by their ability to make an ice barrage noise.
Yeah, I feel like at one point they felt like they were too fast and then tried to pad for time and then ended up way too padded.
Live and learn.
Yeah, it was interesting. Then was the main event. Okay, our main event. Not everyone else's main event, but RuneScape Ahead. That's probably what you've seen if you are watching this video. So I'm not going to go into deep detail of it, but it looks great. Haven Height looks great.
Finally going to get both sides the wise old man's obscure globe in his house, where he has a continent to the west of the mainland mass, Zaya and Old School, and now something to the east of the mainland mass, which will be Haven Height. Yeah, that's a real obscure one out there, Lorehounds, but I'm happy we're finally going east.
They also talked about the time runes, which is out and about by then. Now, we were finishing up a mascot, I guess is the other main half of the year.
Mod Dragon, if you're out there, your mascot looks amazing. I got the look over her shoulder. She was making the 3D model for a mascot. Cat Goddess.
I guess the first half of the year is going to be a mascot finishing up the desert, the big boss, and then second half of the year. Oh, Duck Quest. We're getting Duck Quest.
Repeat, there will be more talking birds in the game. This is amazing. We have now 3 different quest series about talking birds.
I am so stoked for Duck Quest. I love ducks. We met Mod Echo, who designed the Duck Quest. She was thrilled for Duck Quest too. It's been a little passion project of hers.
2 years?
Yes. The holiday events are obviously continuing. Was there anything else major off the roadmap we want to talk about?
Well, there's one thing that we can't really talk about too much about because there's not much to say yet, but there's a new skill coming.
Right.
I spoke with Mod Timbo a little bit. That's his big thing.
Leagues.
Along with leagues.
Yes.
And he says that he can say it's probably not sailing, probably not a combat skill. Now, he could just be being cheeky by saying it's definitely not those things, but, I mean, I'm pretty excited by the idea that we're already getting a new skill fairly shortly after necromancy.
Yeah, and leagues are coming for RuneScape 3. I think that's pretty exciting. We will probably partake at least a little bit.
No, I'm going to say outright, I will partake. You see, I have not played leagues on old school every time it's come. I have not been that interested in it. I mean, the basic concept of just remake your account but fast has not really appealed to me. But I spoke with Mod Timbo, and I'm not going to go into too many details, but he's going to do a questing and lore connection. And I'm not going to elaborate because it's probably just subject to a lot of change, but as a lore hound, if there are other lore hounds out here, you're going to want to play it. It sounds so cool.
Also, Mod Timbo loved our costumes.
Yes. Props to Mod Timbo.
He came up specifically and told us about our costume.
No, he came up and told you specifically what your costume was.
That then brought to the main event of Old School.
They're getting sailing.
That was tested in the LAN parties area.
Yeah, maybe in a future video I'll talk more about my opinions on sailing. But I gotta say, it's gonna be fun. It's different than what I think the majority of Old School players wanted, but it's gonna be fun.
They're getting vampires for their storyline.
Yeah, new boss, Yama. New boss under Varlamore.
New boss that has not passed the polls yet, though.
Yes, that's true, but it will. People want a new demon boss, especially the new demon bane weapons that were just added to the game with tormented demons and Gothic sleeps. So yeah, it looks like a good time to be an old school player. A lot of time went into talking about Project JMods, their official private server project. I gotta say, it looks kind of interesting, but if I'm being honest, I feel like the novelty might wear off of me a little quickly. I might make a Project JMods server with super fast run energy recharge. But I don't really want to change RuneScape that much, core systems, but I could be the minority in this.
And that brings us to the Golden Gnome Awards. I think by that point in the night, were we doing LAN parties? Is that what we were doing?
Yes, we were.
Yes, we were ready to sit down and take a break from the activity. We had some friends that we made in lines waiting on things, and we did a Sanctum run, and it was a mess to try and get to work, but we did it.
Yep, it was so much fun having to carry 3 people through the Sanctum of Rebirth.
That was my first Sanctum run.
And high five to you for getting as much done as you did.
Thanks. I think I died on the second boss.
Yeah.
And then ran back in, then you got booted and couldn't get back in, so...
Disconnection, please wait, attempting to reestablish.
Then we came to the party.
Wait, I just want to say congratulations to all the Golden Gnome winners out there. I apologize we were not sitting there in the audience. At the moment, we caught a glimpse or two, but we wanted to sit down for a little bit. Had some great conversation in JMods, too. But yes, the party.
Oh, also, fun fact about what was happening during the Golden Gnomes is Mod Mark was signing...
And Mod Ash.
Mod Ash was there too?
Yeah.
Was signing certificates if you leveled up or got like a quest cape or something during this time. They were filming it. It was really cute. The photographer missed both of mine. I leveled up 2 of my combat skills.
To 99.
To 99. And I was not willing to wait in a line for a certificate from Mod Mark.
I hate to say this, but I think my favorite part of you hitting those 99s is that you yelled, "Woo, 99 magic!" And someone in the line yelled, "Yeah, good for you." And I said, "It's RuneScape 3." And he went, "Oh."
I didn't hear that. All right, so a lot of people were stuck waiting in line for Mod Mark during the start of the party. The party is a very kind word for what happened.
Have you ever wanted to see a handful of people standing in a warehouse, drinking, standing still, listening to Sea Shanty 2?
They did not play Sea Shanty 2.
They did at one point.
When?
Well, we were doing the light party.
I really don't think so. Fine, whatever. They had a DJ. The DJ did not play popular music. The DJ didn't play music with lyrics, nor RuneScape music.
Yeah, like I said, Sea Shanty 2, but I don't think he did anything else. Maybe some things else, but no, it didn't click with us. We were having fun on the Sanctum.
I was really looking forward to a dance party.
Yeah.
When they said party, I expected dancing. I know the UK has a pretty big drinking culture. There was a lot of beer there. I thought people were going to get loose, have some fun. No one danced. We sat around on some beanbag chairs for a while. We were exhausted, and maybe that's why no one danced. It's because we had been on our feet all day. But it was not a great party. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm happy we had something like that, but come on. Come on, let's be honest here. We're RuneScape players. It is a Saturday night. What are we more likely to do? Be hitting the computers and getting our levels up, or go dancing with a bunch of strangers?
Honestly, I would have preferred they just turn the music off and let us keep milling around with people.
Yeah.
And talk lore.
Yeah.
But maybe it picked up when we left. We did not stay the entire time. So.
Yeah, but to be fair, we left late though. I mean, it was only like a half hour.
Well, it went till 11.
Did we leave at 10?
I don't know. So this brings us to the Sunday panels.
We did that.
Well, we didn't actually say, well, we said what we did, but the other Sunday panels In addition to the old school and RuneScape 3 specific ones, they had an entire art area which you could go watch, like the 3D designing of the game, concept art to the in-game art, how they create the characters. I assume they mean concept. Concept to reality, animating Galenor, behind the magic of tech art and VFX. They also had the meet and greets, including the RS guy, Mr. Mammal, It's Will, Rarg, Protox, Soup, Jimmy, and Links So Karina.
Can you tell we don't exactly know all of the YouTubers super well their content? Although I do like it, Jimmy.
Yes. They also had the creator campfire, which seemed like a really cute little spot that you could go sit and talk to your creators. But this included Chivalric, I'm X Crystal, Hananani, Kolendano, Olive, Herboid Dakota. That is
Bunny Bop.
Bunny Bop, yes. Bunny Bop we saw a lot of, I feel like. Jesse.
Hananin. Isn't that the name of that one gorilla that died in 2016?
I really don't think so. Then they also had community campfires, which I thought sounded really cool, but we didn't have time to go to any. They had one specifically for women who play RuneScape, and these I think were led by JMods. Then they had another one for old school narrative continuation, another RuneScape art thing, more designing content. If you have your XP maxed out, that was for you.
5.8 billion players out there.
A combat one, a diversity in Galenor meetup, and RuneScape skilling meetup that was led by Timbo and Breezy. That one would have been fun.
We just didn't have time. And meeting the JMods was one of my favorite parts, but we just didn't have time for everything.
Yeah, it was so packed as far as scheduling. They also had the RuneScape wiki were around. We missed this too. They also handed out scarves.
Which it was cold in Birmingham, which would have been so nice.
They were beautiful scarves. They kind of looked like the Harry Potter house scarves.
I'll have to check eBay to see if any of them have ended up there yet.
They did not have many of them. And then they also had Questing Clan Quest, which were around. I think they were handing out scarves too. Apparently the RuneScape Archive project was there. Honestly, I don't think I saw anything from that.
I don't either. Well, I like those guys. I like what they do.
I think the Goblin Diplomacy stall might have turned into the cosplay stall, which was supposed to be a place, I assume, where you go and find out what Warbla is and such. Then they also had the charity marketplace, which you filled out a little charity blurb and they gave you a blue party hat pin. It was cute. They also had some accessibility gaming things to show off,
which was cool. I mean,
I really would have loved to try it.
But it comes down to the same thing. But there just wasn't enough time for everything. I mean, those panels were all day.
Yeah. And I think that really wraps up. Oh, here were the statuettes.
Oh, those, right.
Yes, they had, I'm looking at the guide. They had a Wise Old Man and Gnome Child statue figurines. The U2s, whatever those are. So that really brings us to the last big thing I wanted to just kind of review was what it was like to interact with the mods. I think a lot of people who go to Runefest, this is a highlight for them. This is what they're looking forward to, is getting to share their ideas, getting to share their feedback, getting to find Mod Black Witch, who seems extremely popular, and telling her how amazing her art is.
Yeah, she had a little paparazzi going around. Good for her, though.
Yeah, so we talked to a lot of different mods. We talked to Mod Alex.
Mod Strike, Mod Timbo.
We talked to Mod Alex. You spoke briefly to Mod Black Witch, just for a moment. Those are the two main environmental art design people. Mod Alex actually sat for a super long time just at a picnic table and painted miniatures, RuneScape miniatures from the board game, which I thought was super cool, and he was super chill, and it was really fun to just chat with him.
Yeah, we talked a lot about things he's designing the game and has designed in the past. It was cool to hear the guy who makes a lot of places we like come to life.
Yeah, and I went into this not really knowing many of the mods by name. So, and now I can be like, oh yeah, Mod Alex, he did the Demonheim redesign, and he did this and that, and it's kind of cool now to have a face with some of my favorite places in games and favorite models. We also talked to Mod Dragon, at least I talked to Mod Dragon.
I talked to Mod Dragon.
Okay. And we watched her work on the Amaska model. We also went to the whole art panel for RuneScape 3, so yeah, we talked to Mod Dragon a lot. She was really sweet. I think the other big mod we talked to for a long time was Timbo.
Yes, Timbo looked for us, and I first criticized his decision to delete certain trees on the game, but he got a good laugh out of that. But yeah, Timbo was working on a new skill, worked on the last skill, and he knows just a little bit about everything of RuneScape, it seems. Maybe I shouldn't say a little bit. No matter what the topic was, yeah, I worked on that. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, that's a cool idea.
Yes, Timbo really struck me as the kind of mod who just loved his job.
Yeah.
And loved the aspect, too, of getting to interact with fans.
Yeah, I was really hoping I'd get a chance to meet him at Runefest, but we had several conversations. It was great.
Yes, we talked to Mod Mark briefly, very briefly.
I liked his hat.
Had a great hat, his great pirate hat from the Sea Shanty YouTube song. I'll have to link that in case no one knows what I'm talking about, because it's a masterpiece.
Indeed it is. Indeed it is.
And he seems so enthusiastic. I think he loves what he does. I don't think he'd choose to lead everything with the microphone, be our moderator for things if he wasn't happy to do it. But yeah, he was a blast.
Mod Shrike and I had a couple great conversations about lore. She's been working on a lot of the Erebus and Moya quest story. Oh, she had such a great quote about the Moya quest line that she sees stories of intelligent women making terrible decisions as peak fiction.
I think Mod Strike is kind of devastated to leave Moya behind.
Yeah, but we'll get back. If Mod Strike stays on Moya, I know that means when that story's returned to, it's going to be good.
Which I am kind of devastated to be leaving Moya behind, honestly.
She does have great hair.
Such great hair. But yeah, we talked a lot with Mod Strike about Haven Hythe. Am I actually saying this right? I'm so unconfident when I say Haven Hythe.
She knows what she's doing. I have not followed her work as closely as I should have, because as I learned more about what she's worked on, I thought, wow, she's just one of the best writers we have at Jagex right now.
And this is something I definitely should have said upon introduction of our channel this episode, but I was not caught up with lore until, 2 days before Runefest. I had been kind of casually playing. I was very generously guided through the 5th age to the 6th age by my husband, who was keeping spoiler content away from me. So
just everyone take a moment who's done the 5th age and 6th age content. Just think about how difficult that is to make sure she did not get any 6th age plot details, any whatsoever, while doing the 5th age quests in order.
In 2020, starting this.
She didn't know about the world events. She did not know the gods returned. She didn't know Guthix died. She didn't know how much she ended up liking Sliske. I had to sit next to her and control everything she did, and she had an amazing time.
Yes, it was truly peak RuneScape experience. That's how you should experience it. I feel so bad for new players who don't have someone to guide them through. But this also means I had zero interaction with the community, with the updates, with the mod team. I walked in knowing nothing. I was just as enthusiastic for all the updates, but not with any of the background.
Right.
I had not been able to engage at all.
And I'm so glad you're involved now. I mean,
I'm so happy to be here and find this community.
Speaking of community, what else should we say to them?
I think this brings us to kind of our wrap up, which are going to be the biggest problems of the convention. We had 2 major things, which I think we've probably made one of them very clear and have not had an opportunity actually to touch on the other. So our minor complaint, our petty complaint, the wristbands. These are the type of wristbands. It was a ribbon with a plastic closure. I believe they are called festival wristbands a lot of times, but they are the type that when you tighten on your wrist, you cannot untighten them.
Nor can you remove them, to be clear.
Yes, like, I get it. It was a 2-day event, so they didn't want to do paper bands. The ribbon looks really nice. But we had someone we ran into pretty much was cutting off their circulation with their band and had to go get it cut off. And we walked by that booth that had scissors, and there was an entire pile of them. So obviously it was not a one-person issue. We wanted to keep the ribbon, wanted to get it off without destroying it. And we were in a different country, didn't have every tool accessible to us that's normally in our kitchen cupboard, but we could not get it off in the hotel room. The ribbon got pretty much destroyed just from the spikes that were stabbing into it to hold it in place. I would really love to see maybe just a ribbon that ties.
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't
just
have
paper.
Paper ribbon, paper wristband, just 2 of them, one for day 1, one for day 2.
That would work too.
Don't reinvent the wheel.
Please don't make something that cuts people's circulation off.
Generally good practice.
Yes, I think that's a pretty easy ask. And then I think the biggest obvious thing that we've had an issue with is how cramped the schedule was. I really appreciate they wanted to have events of a lot of different types, a lot of different events, and they split Old School RuneScape and RuneScape 3 up and gave the people who were only there for one opportunity to really enjoy their day. But those of us who were there for both got kind of screwed.
Next time, hopefully they just pick a weekend of the bank holiday and make it a 3-day event.
I would love to see this event as a 3-day event.
we'd go. I mean, I'd understand that a 3-day event probably would mean having a higher ticket price too,
Yes,
but
it would.
we would go. I mean, it'd be more Runefest.
Or honestly, I don't even want to suggest this because I don't want them to do it. I would rather see it be a longer event, but shortening some of the other segments, so not so much was happening at the same time.
But yeah, altogether though, it was fun. We have complaints, but like I said, we're RuneScape players. We're always complaining about something, but it's a great game. It's a great festival, and we will go again.
Yes. So our biggest wins for the festival. What would you say is the biggest win out of Runefest?
I got to talk with the JMods about the future of lore and questing, and they seemed genuinely interested in some of the things I had to say. That was like exactly what I hoped to get at Runefest, but not expected to actually happen. They were friendly. They were cool. They were really cool.
All right, I'm going to pick something different than you because yes, that was absolutely amazing. And yes, I think that's everyone's dream. If you went and didn't talk to people because you were too shy, I really spend the next year working up on your courage to talk to people because it was so worth it. But I'm going to pick for my biggest win, the production value. Mm-hmm. I think I've been to a lot of things where the production value felt small. It felt like here's a big room with some tables. The sound system was great. They had music, they had entertainers, the decorations, just nothing about this place felt cheap, felt hasty, felt thrown together. It felt so well planned, so well executed. I have no complaints.
And you know what about the venue? We talked a little bit about how there were a little too long lines for the food. But you know what? They did have about 6 different restaurants there, or food carts, I should say.
3?
No, I counted about 6.
Oh, there were 4.
Well, just yeah.
There was 2 in the cafeteria, chicken, and the gyros.
So I guess I'm thinking about the 2 alcohol carts
Yes.
then. Well, point stands that, they could have done a little bit more on there, but at least they remember that people did need to eat. Like, that was well
Yes,
executed.
they very well could have just been like, you're in the train station, NEC hub, go to Subway. Like, they very easily could have just done that.
But yeah, but it was good. It was good.
Overall, I was going to say 10 out of 10, but is that accurate?
Yeah.
Is it a 9 out of 10?
No, it's a 10 out of 10. Runefest is amazing.
I'm going to give it like a 9.8.
10 out of 10.
98 out of 100.
92 out of 99.
It's halfway there. Anyway, thank you. If you're still with us, thank you. If you watched only part of this, thank you. Just a reminder, I'm Lady.
I'm Sao.
And I hope we will be bringing you many more videos to come. And I hope we will be at many more Runefests and we'll have many more Runefests to review for you.
See us in game.
Bye. Don't forget to subscribe.